Hello and welcome to Analysts. I am Onye Adekunle. The federal government has approved the sum of $1.9 billion for the construction of a rail line that will link Nigeria to Niger Republic. And this was one of the contracts presented by the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, and approved during the last Federal Executive Council meeting. The proposed rail line is designed to connect Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa states to Maradi in neighboring Niger Republic. And as would be expected, this move has attracted both praises and criticisms from different quarters. But joining me now on the program is Jide Ojo, a political affairs analyst and columnist. Of course, he joins us via Skype from Abuja. Mr. Ojo, thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. So first off, let's start with your own reaction to this. Is this a good move or not?
Well, it is a good move. Those three states are part of Nigeria. You must not forget that what is source for the goose is also source for the gander. If the federal government is funding the rail line from Lagos to Ibadan to Kano, it's also fit and proper that the northern brothers and sisters should also be factored into the rail revolution that is currently taking place. Recall that when Honorable Osai of House of Reps actually invited Minister of Transportation recently over the $500 million Chinese loan that we are sourcing, even Amechi, meaning the Minister of Transportation, was saying that, look, if you investigate this too much, it's going to affect sourcing of loan for Lagos to Calabar rail line, which then means that all parts of Nigeria are being proposed to be connected by rail. So if the Minister of Transportation is thinking about the people of South-South, why do you think the people of Northern Nigeria will not want to have this rail line? There are also Nigerians. This rail line, 248 kilometers, is going to traverse three states, Jigawa, Kano, and Katsina. Maybe the concern is why connecting to Maradi in Niger Republic.
Exactly.
We must not also forget that we are connected by ECOWAS. And ECOWAS is all about movement of goods and services across member states. And there is a lot of trade relationship, trade and commerce between Nigeria and Niger Republic. Let me give you an instance. During the Salah period, many of the Nigerian farm marketers, those who buy and sell ram, usually go to Niger Republic to import this ram, which they sell across the length and breadth of Nigeria, because it's cheaper for them to buy from Niger Republic and sell in Nigeria at a more profitable margin. So what I'm saying invariably is that the government must have its own reasons why it wants to extend the rail line to Maradi in Niger Republic. Don't also forget, Oyin, that Nigeria is servicing some West African countries with electricity. You may ask, what's the basis of that? But if they decide to go and dam in their country, the Kanji Dam in Nigeria will not have water to generate electricity. So we are linked by trade and commerce. And I don't say, look at the Lagos, Benin, Togo, Accra trade. The road from Badagry to Accra. This is a road that connects more than one country. When Nigeria will do its own part, it might extend a bit into the Niger Republic, and from there to from Togo to Accra. Although maybe my own position would have been, let's stop at Katsina, the Nigeria border in Katsina, rather than going as far as Maradi. But the federal government, in no wisdom, felt they needed to extend the rail line to that place. Maybe the Minister of Transportation may want to give rationale behind extending the rail services to Maradi in Niger Republic. But to have a rail line connecting Jigawa, Kano, and Katsina is not a misplaced priority for Nigeria.
I mean, because what has got many people talking is that there are many projects within the country, other ones that have been started. We have the Lagos-Ibadan Railway project, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway project, for instance. There are many other projects that people think the government could have prioritized than this at this time. Would you also buy into that idea? What do you think of that?
The People's Democratic Party, who is an act critical of this, we should understand the political undertone of why they are disagreeing with the administration. Every administration has its own priorities, and those priorities are not set by the opposition parties. They are set by the ruling party. So I don't believe it's a misplaced priority, provided that it will not be abandoned. Because what I will criticize, what I will not be, what will not gladden my heart is when you have a project of this nature being starved of funds, not being completed within the time life of this administration. If they know that this project, they will fund it to the point of ensuring that it's completed before 2023 or before the exit of this administration, because the incoming administration, which may likely come from southern Nigeria, may not find that to be a priority, even if it's going to be an APC administration. So it will be ideal for them to ensure that the project is feasible and is completed on schedule and during the life of this administration. Otherwise, we may end up having another abandoned project. Look at how long it has taken the Lagos-Ibadan the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and then the Lagos-Ibadan rail revitalization project. It was started under Goodluck Jonathan, but magnanimously this administration has deemed it fit to continue. But you may not be that lucky with an incoming administration in 2023. It may no longer be a priority for that government. But the long story short is that it does not lie within the opposition party to determine what is of priority to an incumbent administration. They know why they wanted to do that. And my own position is that the people of Jigawa, Kano, and Katsina are also Nigerians, and they should be served with all the infrastructure that the rest of the country enjoys. Don't also forget that the Minister of Transportation have said that why they are also doing this is for transportation of crude oil, that it will ease the transportation of crude oil. Right now, crude oil is trucked from the port down to the farthest point in Nigeria. So if they are able to also connect these 7 senatorial districts with rail line, it may be cheaper to transport both crude and premium motor spirits, refined petroleum products across these 3 states.
And there are also concerns about security, that you don't think that this would come with its own peculiar security concerns in terms of insurgency now?
Why should you think that? For me, it might even ease banditry and insurgency. In this sense, most of the youth that are involved in banditry and insurgency took to those crimes as a result of frustration, lack of opportunities, and all of that. And these 3 states, Katsina, Jigawa, and Kano, are agrarian states. They have a lot of agricultural production. And what is best to transport these agricultural products? The cheapest way of transporting them is through rail. And it will be cheaper for them, it will be safer for them, rather than trucking them across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Just imagine, if we have a rail line that connects Lagos to Kano to Jigawa to Katsina, and you want to transport tomatoes, onions, and all of that from this part of the country to the south, it's going to be cheaper for you if you do those cargo through rail than through articulated vehicles. Look at the disaster that took place a couple of days back in Lokoja, where a petrol tanker that was trucking fuel, had an accident, and a minimum of 23 lives were lost in that inferno. But this is a product that could have been ferried across the country through the rail. And you don't often have derailment as much as you have road accidents. And that is why it is cheaper, it is economical, and I believe it will open the economy of those 3 states. If there is a rail services that connect them, it can be used to transport cargo and also means of mass transport for human beings. So for me, the argument is baseless to say that maybe having that rail services will cause insecurity. I actually will not see the nexus. Right now, as we speak, even with Maiduguri as the epicenter of Boko Haram insurgency, there are still a lot of infrastructural development going on, not only in Borno, but across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Many of the schools that were raised by the insurgents have been rebuilt, both by federal government and the Borno state government. Why shouldn't they say because of insurgency they will not rebuild those schools or that? Because one day the insurgency will end, and the people will need this infrastructure to be able to engage in their commerce and trade.
Mr. Jide Ojo, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on this very important issue. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and do have a great day.
So we'll take a short break here, and when we return, we'll continue with the conversation. Don't go away. All right, so welcome back to the program, and we're still discussing the $1.9 billion, which was recently approved by the Federal Executive Council for the construction of a rail line that will link Nigeria to Niger Republic. To continue that conversation now, I have joining me via telephone Achike Chude, who is a political affairs analyst. Mr. Achike, thank you very much for joining us on the program. So straight to the point, what exactly do you think about this?
Well, I think it is it's reprehensible. It is unwholesome. It's not palatable. It's atrocious. I don't know what other adjective to use. I think again it is unpatriotic. And I'm saying this in the context of Nigeria of today, in the context of the myriad of socioeconomic problems that we have in this country, in the context of the difficulties, of that the country is going through, a country that has been described as the poverty capital of the world, a country where over 100 million people are living on less than $2 a day. There is no justification that can be given, no reasons that will be adequate by the federal government as to why they are doing this. This is a government that found it difficult to fund railway, the rail link between the southeast and the rest of the country until there was serious political pressure on the government and the National Assembly before that was included in the budget. So for you to now include a rail link, in spite of the very serious parallel state of our economy, to another country like Niger, with whom we do not have any serious economic transaction or business or relationship, I think it's something that is beyond the pale, something that one cannot find adequate explanation for.
But,
and do not forget that even most of the monies we are using for these rail lines are monies that we borrow from the international community, monies that will have to be paid back, monies that are causing a lot of controversy because we have already been told by the IMF and the World Bank.
So, Mr. Chike, is this about the timing of the project, or where the government is trying to link the rail to?
Look, timing makes it worse. But it is not about timing. It's about the project itself. It's about the fact that we do not have a business at this particular point in time. even beyond the time again, we do not have a business, providing rail line into Niger Republic. We are not getting any desirable benefit from that in the very first place. And so whenever government wants to involve itself in an international transaction, an international, transaction with any foreign country, the primary purpose must be national interest. What is our primary motivation? What benefit is it, to Nigeria at this particular point? I cannot think of any, except that instead of it being a benefit to us, it's a major disadvantage because it is draining scarce resources that we do not have at all. Then you begin to question yourself about the mindset of the people that are running this country. It is worrisome, seriously.
I mean, you've spoken about the economic circumstances that the prevailing economic circumstances in the country at this time. But then if we all want a developed country, and a country cannot develop without infrastructure. So can't we just consider this a win-win situation? Like when this is completed, it will aid international trade.
You are talking about infrastructure for the country. We agree. But why would this infrastructure go beyond our country? Why would it go beyond the Nigerian territory? Deep into another country that is of no serious, and of course the project has no serious economic implication for us. We are very happy. If we are talking about infrastructure for Nigeria, how much of that money, you can imagine how much that money will be useful to the provision of better healthcare infrastructure in this country. How much that money would have gone, to a very large extent, in repairing our decrepit road infrastructure. You understand how much of that money would have gone into education? Of course, you know that the federal government has obligations based on the agreement with ASO that they are not meeting up. So why would you now want to move needed resources, very scarce resources, that will be useful for the development of this country, for the development.
But Mr. Achike, let's get this straight and understand that it's not as if the government is going to build a rail link through Niger Republic, like to the country. It's just it links like 3 northern states to Niger Republic. So it's not as if the government is trying to do something entirely for another country.
No, for what purpose? What happened to road infrastructure between these countries, these northern states, and then the Niger Republic? You understand? Why are we financing this? There's no logical explanation. Seriously, that's what I'm saying. And I'm hard put to believe that anybody can give me any serious reason, that makes sense why this should be so. This is what we're saying. It's of no economic benefit to Nigeria. So when Nigeria is involved in any international, like I said, any international transaction or agreement, it must be something that has to do with protecting the interests of the Nigerian state. This is of no interest to Nigeria at all under any circumstance, especially when we're looking at the parallel state of the economy. We can ill afford it. And the country is a country that is in dire need of infrastructure in virtually every sector of our political economy. Education, health infrastructure, road infrastructure, housing. So why are we funding certain needs of other countries when we have not even begun to meet the needs of our own country? I think it's unpatriotic, seriously.
But then, one thing that has been making the rounds would be that, and we can also know from this, is that this would aid the transportation of crude oil, for instance.
The transportation of what?
Crude oil.
Why transportation of crude oil? For what purpose? You mean because people are talking about our fellow West African countries having refineries that are working. A country as big as Nigeria, the so-called giant of Africa, it does not have a refinery that is working, and the country has not been able to build another refinery. So are you saying that what we are not doing, what we cannot do here in Nigeria with all our resources, we will now spend some of these resources to be able to take crude oil from Niger? It's unpatriotic. It's unwholesome. It's unpalatable. There's no other way you can describe it now. Like I told you, you just brought out the reason of crude oil, and I told you it doesn't make sense. There's no reason that can justify this.
So what you're saying is you rather have the government channel these resources to other sectors than building a real project. That's what you're saying.
That are in dire need or in sore need of these resources to build up infrastructure for the people of this country. Why is the government building up infrastructure for the people of Niger? Are Nigerians no longer worthy of government intervention in their social life to make things better for them? Put road infrastructure on ground, medical infrastructure on ground. So this is what we're saying. Government has a duty. The primary duty and responsibility of government is to the people of this country. It's not to the people of Niger or any other country for that matter.
If in the course of building infrastructure and providing for the basic necessities of the citizens of this country, there's an ancillary benefit to these other countries, that's a different thing. It's an irresponsible action on the part of the government. Believe me, I'm sorry to say, but that is the only way I'm seeing it. Oh, well. It doesn't make sense. Well, Mr. Chike, I understand your point perfectly. But thank you very much for sharing your insights with us on Analysis. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Well, we've come to the end of this episode of Analysis. Thank you very much for staying with us. We'll see you again next time. I am Oyi Adekunle. Bye-bye.